Playing the music. Only I don't have control of it. So if everyone's looking at me, I You asked Will's folks to put music on?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Just trying to fix the music. Melissa went over.
I had this all set. Good Lord. Okay, I gotta go. Right. Sir, give me, you're ready to roll? Give me a moment. Okay. We're good. What do you want it on right now?
Just that,
Okay.
just the placeholder slide. Or whatever's gonna make it easier for you to toggle to the president's thing. Sorry.
Yes, I am all set. Go ahead. You're on.
Thank you, Charles. Good morning, everyone. My name is Ellen Weinauer, and I have the privilege of serving as the Dean of the Honors College here at the University of Maine. And we are so excited to welcome you to this really wonderful and festive occasion, our first in-person graduation celebration in 2 years. It is part of We are delighted to be able to acknowledge how proud we are of our students, and to do that in the company with many others who share in their achievements and who help them get to this day. Advisors and teachers, parents, grandparents, spouses, partners, friends, siblings. It is an opportunity we cherish that we can all be together to honor our students' accomplishments and to do that in your company. I want to say a couple words about our approach to this event. I think we pivoted about 4 different times, so I thank you for your patience as we figured out how best to make this happen in a way that was safe and comfortable for all. So we have opted, as you know, to wait till the ceremony is over to serve brunch. We know that there are a few people for whom their level of comfort does not allow them to stay for brunch. That's completely understandable. We hope you will stay. If you're comfortable, there will be a lot of food. We have also opted, because we have literally in the last 2 days seen so many students and advisors and faculty and friends come down with COVID, that we have made the decision to not have beverages during the ceremony itself. Water will be available in the lobby, and if at any time you feel the need to go and get a sip, we encourage you to do that and just leave the cup out there. And we thank you again for being willing to accommodate us. We just want all of you students to be able to walk safely and in comfort, and everyone to go home and be as safe as they were when they walked in today. I do apologize that I'm not wearing my mask, but speaking for 90 minutes with the mask on is challenging. But I did have a negative PCR test, so we're all good. Graduates, as we celebrate you today, we are joined by a number of honors faculty and staff members who have taught and supported you along the way. So the first thing I would like to do is acknowledge all of the honors preceptors who were able to join us today. If you are an honors preceptor or have previously served as an honors preceptor, for those who don't know, those are our honors faculty members, our instructional faculty. Please stand so we can recognize you for your service. I also want to take a moment to acknowledge the incredible staff with whom I have the privilege of working on a daily basis, and to whom I know many of today's undergraduates, or graduates, I should say, are deeply indebted. First, I would like to acknowledge someone you'll see a lot of in just a little bit, Associate Dean Melissa Ladenheim. Melissa, please stand. Melissa knows that there is no more tireless advocate and supporter of our students, and many students have her to thank for really helping them get over the finish line, and I am really honored to work with her every day. Katie Kurz is our financial and personnel manager. She is downstairs checking your max cards and such, but we acknowledge her because she's the one who helped those of you who have money issues or personnel issues. She's your go-to, so she's been very helpful to us. Katie Timms, our honors associate. She was, Katie, you may stand. Another honors associate who graduated last year. A great deal for us on a daily basis, and for you on a daily basis, everything from social media to running to get food for various and sundry events to helping me keep my head on straight, or at least on. Anyway, it's not straight, so we're grateful to them. And finally, Kristen Beebe, our administrative specialist and steady hand, who I know is joining us by live stream, who can't join us today, but please, because she's joining us on live stream, please acknowledge her. She keeps the honors college. The Honors College is also valued and well supported by university administrators and members of our campus community, and I would like to acknowledge those individuals who are here with us today. When I call your name, please stand and remain standing, and audience, please hold your applause until the end. Jessica Miller, Associate Provost for Academic Affairs and Faculty Development. Penny Bishop, Dean of the College of Education and Human Development. Emily Haddad, Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences. Dana Humphrey, Dean of the College of Engineering. Sorry, Liberal Arts and Sciences. Dana Humphrey, Dean of the College of Engineering. Diane Rowland, Dean of the College of Natural Sciences, Forestry, and Agriculture. Francois Amar, formerly the Dean of the Honors College and currently Professor of Chemistry. Charles Stanhope, Honors alumnus, member of the Board of Advocates, and founder of the Stanhope Study Abroad Scholarship. Amy Dumont, Philanthropy Officer with Humane's Foundation, and Paige Holmes, Philanthropy Officer with Humane's Foundation. Thank you all for your service. Greatest supporters, of course, is our University President, Joan Farini Mundy, along with Provost John Wallen. President Farini Mundy is celebrating commencement at the University of Maine at the Chias today, but she has sent along a video message, which we will play now.
And
Uh-oh. Pause. I can only tell you, Joe Kennedy has been here, I think, for 24 hours trying to make this right. And I think what happened is the music got turned on, and I suspect that maybe messed with the sound.
yes, bear with me.
Bear with us. Talk amongst yourselves. It's all good. Yep. Flexibility is our watchword.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay. I can suggest it in person and mark.
Give me just another moment. They shut off all the audio.
They did it. Keep talking. Yeah. All right, we're back. I'm so sorry. Honestly, our good friend Joe Kennedy has been working at this so hard, but I think something that happened over there messed up the audio. So we're just going to move on for now, and hopefully we'll have an opportunity to show it a little bit later. But on behalf of the president of the University of Maine, there were warm wishes and congratulations, and also appreciation, I should say, for the role that you graduating students play in our recent achievement of R1 status. Associate Provost Jessica Miller, the Provost Office provides so much incredible support for the Honors College in so many different ways. And Provost Miller is here to offer some actually live, non-technologically complicated remarks. So, see Provost Miller. Thank you. I guess I could try to channel President Fernie Mundy: flexibility, empathy, science. Congratulations. I know that Provost Volin and President Fernie Mundy would absolutely be here if they could. As has been mentioned, they are en route to the University of Maine at Machias, so probably there by now and celebrating events there. They cannot wait to be back here in Orono and celebrate with you all tomorrow. Before I begin, I just want to thank Dean Weinauer. She is now 1 year in to her almost 9 months, one academic year. And I think to come into a leadership role like with Honors College at a large flagship university like UMaine and in a pandemic, and really just take over the role like she has. I think you see her capability and her grace under pressure right now. So please join me in giving a round of applause. I'm very grateful to have been invited to speak to you today. You know that as honors students, you are part of a very proud tradition at the University of Maine going back to 1935. You are academically talented, committed students who chose to pursue and achieve academic excellence. Those of you who started in 2018 began with the honors read, Just Mercy, by Bryan Stevenson. Some of you may have seen the film as well. A text chosen by honor students, as they do every year for the incoming class, that provided a common experience and began to build that sense of community for which the University of Maine Honors College is celebrated. In your first 2 years, the core courses that make up civilizations took you and your fellow students on a journey from the earliest recorded times through the present, examining philosophy, history, literature, the arts, and the natural, physical, and social sciences. That experience that you gained in the Honors College with interdisciplinarity will serve you well, because in 2022, solving the problems of our world requires many different skills and many different kinds of knowledge. In your final year, work closely with a faculty member on an independent research or creative endeavor that represented the culmination of your academic and personal endeavors as an undergraduate here at UMaine. The skills that you all developed during the honors thesis process: project management, time management, people management, and believe me, I know how hard it is to wrangle faculty. Research, careful and critical reading, reasoned analysis, creativity, and innovation. Those aren't just college skills, those are life skills. Luckily, the world was nice and quiet and calm during those years that you needed to do all of this. Seriously, I don't need to tell you that when the COVID pandemic arrived in March 2020, the ground shifted beneath our feet. The sense of the usual was disrupted, and we had no clear endpoint to look forward to. Humans are not wired, at least I'm not, to handle this kind of limbo, this lingering sense of uncertainty and disruption. You suffered losses, the loss of expected experiences, perhaps of loved ones, of travel, of sports, of research experiences, in many ways of a normal college course. You may have missed weddings, holidays, or funerals. These accumulated losses are significant, and I encourage you to acknowledge them. In many ways, the world will never go back to the way it was before the pandemic. But Bryan Stevenson, the attorney who wrote Just Mercy, reminds us that our challenges have a positive aspect. He writes, sometimes we're fractured by the choices we make. Sometimes we're shattered by the things we never would have chosen. But our brokenness is also the source of our common humanity, the basis for our shared search for comfort, meaning, and healing. Our shared vulnerability and imperfection nurtures and sustains our capacity for compassion. You had to show persistence, creativity, emotional intelligence, and grit to get through. You had to be creative in connecting with friends and families despite social distancing. You had to be emotionally intelligent to ascertain your own mental health needs and help those of others. I hope your time at the University of Maine, both before and throughout the pandemic, has helped you to develop the values, the will, and the skills to lead from a place of compassion, and that you will do your part to help care and support all of those around you. The University of Maine has been made better by your presence here, by your contributions to learning, to research, to athletics, to arts, to the surrounding community, and to every facet of what makes a university a place for learning, research, community, and growth. I know that whatever your plans are going forward, you will do your part to make this world a better place, just as you already have here in Orono. On behalf of the Office of the Provost, I thank you, I congratulate you, and I wish you the very best wherever life takes you. Thank you, Associate Provost Miller, for those extraordinarily eloquent remarks and for capturing the totality of the students' experience here and indeed the challenges that they have faced in coming to this moment. So thank you so much. All right, centerpiece of today's event is the medallion ceremony. And to echo some of what Associate Provost Miller has said, I want to talk a little bit about medallions. These medallions, the medallions that our graduating scholars will receive, serve as tangible reminders of the hard work and dedication they have manifested in their time at UMaine. Each student has indeed pursued an advanced and challenging interdisciplinary curriculum that culminates in producing a work of original research or creative activity, an honors thesis. Even in the best of circumstances, it takes curiosity, determination, grit, resiliency, and ambition, and yes, faculty wrangling, to see these projects through. And these have clearly not been the best of circumstances. Our graduates have also, against incredible odds, pursued a host of impactful opportunities, internships and research travel, travel study, conference presentations, working in a lab or on a research team, often having to pivot at the last minute to an online or a virtual experience, and you have certainly developed incredible flexibility over your last couple of years. Perhaps most importantly, our students have served their communities on campus and off at a time when service has been so sorely needed. Medallions that will be conferred on our graduates today thus bear witness not only to extraordinary academic achievement, but also to a deep commitment to personal growth and civic engagement. Students, you should be very proud. You will, as I think you already know, find information about each of our graduating scholars in your program, including some wonderful brief reflections that our graduates have provided about their UMaine experience or their future plans. As our scholars come forward to receive their medallions, I will read a brief comment about each student provided by their thesis advisor or a thesis committee member. The special relationship that our students form, don't be scared. Please censor that stuff. No, be ready to weep is what I'm telling you. The relationship that our students form with their mentors is one of the key features of the honors experience, as I think you will hear in a few moments. Now, a little bit of housekeeping. We will invite students to the front according to alphabetical order. Thesis advisors, co-advisors, or designated committee members who are here with us today, please accompany your students. And I will tell you that we do have a few advisors who have at the last minute indicated that they can't come, and we've been trying to track them. But we are up here. Associate Dean Ladenheim will be up here to confer the medallion if that's necessary. When I call your name, please step forward to this there's a box with masking tape right here. I will read a few words and then I will invite your advisor or designated committee member to confer your medallion. Then you're going to walk across here. You will get a certificate and a prize honor sign made yearly by a potter. So these are in fact cherished honors items. And then you're going to go this way, not this way, but this way into the atrium, where there will be a little photo area where we will have someone taking photos, and your family members or advisor can accompany you as well if you want to snap some photos of your own. Not all of our graduates were able to attend today. We are not skipping them, but if you, we'll make sure that I haven't skipped anyone. I don't think I've skipped anyone, but we'll make sure we haven't. Everybody good? Okay, I would now like to ask Melissa Ladenheim to step forward, Kelsey and Katie. Staff your stations. We've got our photo station. I would like to ask students with last names beginning A through C to step forward and just with your committee members or advisors and kind of line up along that wall. You gotta practice your alphabet. Right.
Now, question.
Yes.
When do I switch to the next screen?
No, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm waiting for a cue from
yeah.
you.
Sounds good. Yeah, it's supposed to be actually every day stuff. I don't
All right. Okay. Thank you. My designated class cleaner. Our first graduate is Morgan Belvin. Morgan, please step forward. Morgan is an animal and veterinary sciences major whose thesis is entitled The Incidence of Staphylococcus aureus mastitis in Maine Dairy Cattle. Her advisor is Ann Lichtenwallner. Professor Lichtenwallner writes, Morgan is a great ambassador for the University of Maine for honors and for the animal and veterinary science program. She is thoughtful, dedicated to animal welfare and health, and generous with her participation and leadership in humane student organizations. She will bring practical, experienced care to our Maine livestock and pet populations when she graduates from veterinary school. It has been a real pleasure working with Morgan throughout the pandemic. Her dedication to her project has been gratifying during this difficult time. You can confer the medallion. Congratulations, Morgan. Next graduate is Anna Bishop. Anna is a zoology major whose thesis is entitled Assessing the Likelihood of Widespread Adoption of RIDL for Controlling Mosquito-Borne Disease in the United States. Her advisor is Allison Gardner. Professor Gardner writes, it has been a real pleasure to collaborate with Anna this year on her highly interdisciplinary and independent honors thesis. Anna developed an ambitious project exploring barriers to wide-scale implementation of genetically modified mosquito releases for disease control, considering both biological and social dimensions of the problem. This is such an important research area with potential to impact millions of people affected by mosquito-borne disease annually, and reflects Anna's determination to contribute to positive public health outcomes globally. Please place the medallion. Congratulations, Anna. Next is Connor Bolduc. Connor is a theater and philosophy major whose thesis is entitled From Dialogue to Script, Philosophical Forms and the Spectacle of Theater. Connor has co-advisors, Rosalie Purvis and Michael Howard. Professor Purvis writes, Connor has created a fully formed work of theater and literature that fully integrates his passion for philosophy, politics, social justice, and gender equity. He wrote a play, assembled a team to stage it, and wrote a thesis about the process of creation and how his work adapts age-old philosophical questions to the modern day. His play has shifted the way I now view current events. Co-advisor Michael Howard notes that Connor's project is not only a culmination of his work at UMaine, but the beginning of further work in graduate school and beyond. Please confer the medallion. Our next graduate is Erin Bradstreet. Professor Mayers, step forward. That's good, just move the line. No, not that far forward. Just against the wall. All right, back to serious business. Our next graduate is Erin Bradstreet. Erin is an animal and veterinary sciences major whose thesis is entitled The Impact of the COVID-19 Pandemic on Antimicrobial Stewardship Practices and their effect on veterinary medicine. Her advisor is James A. Weber. Professor Weber writes, in her honors project, Erin studied the effect of the COVID-19 pandemic on the use of antimicrobials in human and veterinary medicine. This subject is consistent with her career goal of becoming a practicing doctor of pharmacy. Erin's research is topical, and it aligns with the currently popular One Health approach to disease management that recognizes the interconnections among people, animals, and the environment. Please confer the medallion. Our next graduate is John Burnell. His advisor today, so he will be accompanied by committee member Chris Mayers. John's major is biochemistry and molecular and cellular biology, double major. His thesis in it is entitled, and I'm now getting into some of the thesis titles that I'm not sure I'm pronouncing right, but I'll do my absolute best. Mitochondrial toxicity of antimicrobial agent acetylpyridinium chloride. Yay! His advisor, Julie Goss, writes this. Jack is self-directed. He takes ownership of his projects, and he reads the literature and synthesizes ideas brilliantly into new hypotheses and explanations for his lab findings. I've been so impressed to see him dive into his research, to develop and modify protocols, to solve vexing problems on his own without complaint, and to be hardworking, organized, and proactive. I'm going to miss him, and I wish him the very best in his scientific career and life ahead. Please confer the medallion. Our next graduate is Delaney Burns. Delaney is a double major in marketing and studio art, so she has two different college affinities. And her thesis title is Pinus longeva, Exploring the Intersections of Art and Science Through Ancient Bristlecone Pine Trees. You may have seen an image of one of her extraordinary pieces of art through our slideshow. Her advisors are Andy Morey and Susan Gross, who cannot be here today, so her medallion will be conferred by Associate Dean Leidenheim. Her advisor, Andy Mowry, says, Delaney's enthusiasm and impressive work ethic has been consistent throughout her thesis process, and she is greatly appreciated by both of her advisors. Delaney researches deeply and feels passionately. Her creative thesis truly synthesizes her scholarship and reflects her values as a caring and thoughtful human. Please place the medallion. And congratulations. Our next graduate is Max Burtis. Engineering major, whose thesis is entitled The Performance Assessment of a Small Lighter-Than-Air Vehicle for Earth Science Remote Sensing Missions. His advisor is Wilhelm Friest, who cannot be here today, so the medallion will be conferred by Melissa Leidenheim. Professor Friest writes, Max, throughout his time at UMaine, has continuously demonstrated his excellence both inside and outside of academics. He is a true leader, an excellent and curious researcher, a passionate learner, an entrepreneur, and an outstanding communicator. Max's kind and can-do attitude towards everything and everyone reflects his passion and spirit, and it has been a great pleasure and honor to work with him over the past years. Well done, Max. Our next graduate is Darby Casey. Darby is a double major in psychology and sociology. She has written a thesis entitled The Effects of Religious and Science Identity on Compatibility, advised by Jordan LaBeouf. Professor LaBeouf writes, Darby has been an incredible leader in our lab, not only doing fantastic research on the compatibility of science and religion, but in helping us support one another through the pandemic. Thank you, Darby. Please place the medallion. Our next graduate is Evie Clement. Evie is a communications major whose thesis is entitled The Effects of Rumination and Co-Rumination on the Relationship Between Self-Efficacy and Depressive Symptoms. Her advisor is Rebecca Schwartz-Met. Professor Schwartz-Met writes, I so treasure my work with Evie throughout her undergraduate career, and particularly throughout the work on her honors thesis project. From start to finish, she has embodied an intrinsic desire to push herself and her work towards scholarly excellence, and I can't wait to see what she does next in her journey. Please confer the medallion. Our next graduate is Rebecca Collins. Rebecca is a chemistry major whose thesis is entitled Asymmetric Catalysis. Is that right? Asymmetric catalysis of chiral phosphate mimics. Her advisor is Matthew Brikacek. He cannot be with us today, so the medallion will be conferred by Melissa Leidenheim. Professor Brikacek writes, chemistry is the study of transformations. During Rebecca's time at UMaine, she has transformed matter into more useful materials in the lab and has transformed herself into a mature, vibrant scholar as well. Please place the medallion and congratulations. Member James Brophy. Veterinary Sciences major whose thesis is entitled Quantifying Horse Behavior Utilizing GPS. Her advisor is Cole Knight. Her medallion will be conferred by Professor James Brophy. Committee member Melissa Leidenheim writes this. I had the pleasure of teaching Vanessa in her first year honors course at UMaine and then serving on her thesis committee in her senior year. She is a joy to have as a student, always smiling and ready to dig into the text we were reading in Honors 111 or tackling her thesis research. I'm consistently impressed by her commitment to learning, her tenacity in the face of obstacles, and her resilience in overcoming challenges. Vanessa has a great future ahead of her, and I wish her all the best. James, please confer the medallion. Our next graduate is Matthew Cox. Matthew is a double major in biochemistry and molecular and cellular biology. His thesis is entitled Cohabitating Prophage Interactions and Their Role in Regulation of Important Mycobacterial Antibiotic Resistance Genes. His advisor is Sally Malloy. Sally Malloy writes this. It has been an absolute joy working with Matt on this project over the last 3 years. His work determining the role of prophage induction in regulation of mycobacterial intrinsic antibiotic resistance will be included in a peer-reviewed manuscript. His kindness, leadership, and can-do attitude will be sorely missed in the Malloy Laboratory, but we are excited to watch him grow and succeed as a scientist in graduate school. Congratulations, Matt. Please come back. Jamie. Jamie Jr. Right, okay, but you're not. Okay, letters A through C, I think. I just got freaked out, sorry. Oh, fine. All right, we're gonna do a couple out of order. I'd also like Hannah Marsh to step over to the wall over there. And we're gonna invite Jamie Jiggier to step forward. Jamie is a psychology major whose thesis is entitled Perfectionism, Perceived Stress, and Maladaptive Eating Behaviors. Her co-advisors are Jeffrey Hecker and Margaret Killinger. Professor Hecker writes, Jamie has a fearless can-do approach to her honors thesis, Her standard response to each new challenge was, I'll figure it out. Co-advisor Mimi Killinger notes that Jamie has already accepted a position in the operations department at Aroma Joe's franchising in South Portland, and her future plans include earning a Master of Business Administration degree. Please confer the medallion. Our next graduate is Hannah Marsh. Hannah Marsh is a political science major whose thesis is entitled Cancel Culture Conundrum. Her advisor is Mark Brewer. Professor Brewer writes, Hannah has been a joy to work with. She was one step ahead of me throughout the entire thesis process. She is the most diligent and responsible thesis student I have ever had. I want to note that Hannah will be commissioned as a second lieutenant in the United States Army this afternoon. And she will do follow-on service with the 82nd Airborne Division at Fort Bragg in North Carolina. Please. I would now like students with last names beginning D through G to please step forward with your advisors and committee members. Wow. One second. We'd also like Allie Perry, Tanya Roy, and Paige Solitz to step forward with their advisors because their advisor has to be the art ceremony. What did Associate Provost Miller say about grace under pressure? Our next graduate is Elise Staub. Elise, please step forward. Elise is an ecology and environmental sciences major whose thesis is entitled Linking Molecular Deadwood Inhabiting Fungi to Carbon Dioxide Flux of Decomposing Coarse Woody Debris. Her advisor is Professor Peter Avis. He can't be with us today. Her medallion to be conferred by Melissa Lakeheim. But Professor Avis has this to say. Elise is an exceptional student and exemplifies what I believe the honors program at UMaine is all about. She is a highly talented and challenge-defying mountain climber ready to lead our world into the future. Please confer the medallion. Kristen Davies, please step forward. Kristen is a child development and family relations major whose thesis is entitled Document Analysis of Behavior Expectations and Disciplinary Action Policies of Public Preschools in Maine. Her advisor is Professor Julie Della Matera. Professor Della Matera writes, Kristen has been an absolute joy to work with. Her project began from a deep desire to see that young children are in schools where equity and individual needs are honored. It had so many thoughtful conversations about equality versus equity and the systematic barriers that promote inequity. Kristen wants to be an advocate for the children in her future classrooms and to create a space for conversation amongst educators, administrators, and community members to analyze and question policies set in place in academic settings. If anyone could do it, I believe she certainly can. Please place the medallion. Our next graduate is Dominique Espirito. Dominique is a political science major whose thesis is entitled Envisioning a Bold Food Waste Policy for Maine, a mixed method study into the context of landfill diversion of food waste. And her advisor is Robert Glover. Professor Glover notes, Dominique's project undertook extensive statewide interview and survey research to offer concrete policy recommendations to address the issue of food waste in Maine, a problem that accounts for a greater climate impact nationally than the entire airline industry. Dominique worked in collaboration with an array of stakeholders, policymakers, private waste companies, advocates, state officials, and agencies. This is, simply put, the most ambitious and publicly impactful undergraduate project I have ever mentored, and it is my great honor to work with one of our university's most insightful, diligent, and talented undergraduate students. Please confer the medallion. Our next graduate is John Donnelly. John is a computer science major whose thesis is entitled Deformable Proto-PNet, an interpretable image classifier using deformable prototypes. His advisor is Xiaofan Chen, who can't be here with us today. Professor Chen writes, John is very talented and has done amazing research in the area of artificial intelligence and machine learning. In his honors thesis work, John developed an interpretable computer vision model that can capture spatial deformations in images, and he published the results at a top venue in computer science. I feel incredibly privileged to be his thesis advisor and to witness the amazing work John has done, and I have no doubt that his dedication and research ability will make him a successful researcher in the future. Please confer the medallion. Our next graduate is Marissa Edwards. Dustin's not here. Colin Flynn. Yes. Colin is a zoology major whose thesis is entitled Using Thermography to Determine Mechanisms of Heat Loss in the Southern Flying Squirrel. His advisor is Danielle Levesque. His medallion will be conferred by Associate Dean Leidenheim. Professor Levesque writes, Colin has been in my lab since his sophomore year, and I was excited when he came to me with ideas for his thesis project. He dealt well with the problems thrown at him, from uncooperative study animals to finicky equipment. It's been great having Colin in my lab, and we will miss him when he's gone. Please place the medallion. Our next graduate is Madeline Bernhardt. is an English major, dear to my heart, whose thesis is entitled Sisterhood and Survival, an exploration of women's relationships in feminist speculative fiction. Her advisor is Caroline Bix. Professor Bix writes, "It was a pleasure working with Maddie as she explored the important theme of sisterhood and the fractions in female bonds that occur when women are forced to live under oppressive regimes. She worked hard through multiple drafts to develop her original readings of 3 feminist dystopian novels written by 3 very different writers. She never gave up, and she should be very proud of what she produced." Please place a medallion. Congratulations. Our next graduate is Alexandra Peary. Alexandra is a nursing major. His thesis is entitled How Physical Activity Implementation Strategies Have Changed During the COVID-19 Pandemic in Schools Enrolled in the Let's-Go program. And her advisor is Kelly Strout. Her advisor writes, "Alex's passion for improving physical well-being for children through physical activity in schools and beyond is infectious. Her honors thesis is timely and produced new knowledge about physical activity innovations generated during the COVID-19 pandemic. I look forward to serving on her PhD in nursing dissertation committee." Please place the medallion. Congratulations. Our next graduate is Paige Solitz. Paige is another. Say out loud for just a minute that 2 of our most challenging, notoriously difficult majors to manage with honors. One is nursing, and the other is basically anything in engineering. Education also carries a little bit of a banner there, but it's wonderful to see nursing majors graduate. Important work. Paige's thesis is entitled Evaluating Forensic Nursing Content Within Maine's Undergraduate Curriculum. Kelly Strout, her advisor, writes this: "The COVID-19 pandemic generated a unique clinical opportunity for Paige at Rape Response Services. Through this experience, her passion for improving nursing student education about forensic nursing through research was born. Paige will be a leader in women's health and forensic nursing." Please place the medallion. Congratulations. Our next graduate is Tanya Roy. Tanya is a nursing major. His thesis is entitled Social Isolation During the COVID-19 Pandemic and Its Impact on Millions of Nursing Homes. What an important and tough topic. Her advisor, Kelly Strout, writes this: "Tanya's honors thesis was inspired by her love of older adults and the loss of her grandparents during the COVID-19 pandemic. Her contribution to new knowledge provides a scientific understanding about the severe effects of social isolation experienced among nursing home residents during the COVID-19 pandemic. Her research integrated her clinical experience with older adults in a local nursing home." Congratulations, Tanya. Please place the medallion. Students with last names beginning H through K, please step forward with your advisors or committee members. Allison Haley, when you step up there, you can step on forward. Oh, sorry. Jared Haynes. Our next graduate is Jared Haynes. I believe he stole some flowers. Jared is an anthropology major whose Advisor is Darren Ranko. Advisor can't be with us today, so his medallion will be conferred by Hugh Curran. His thesis is entitled The Penobscot Nation, the State of Maine, and the River Between Them. Hugh Curran writes, I've had a number of talks with Jared in which we discussed his topic and his readings. I was so impressed with his willingness to explore various recommended source books on his consequential topic. Our discussions were always stimulating and fruitful. Please confer the medallion. Our next graduate is Robert Hebert. Robert is a double major in new media and English, whose thesis is entitled The One-Way Bridge. His thesis advisor is Jolene Blaze, who cannot be with us today, but she has, his medallion will be given by Chris Mears, who had this to say about Robert. It was great fun to be transported into the world of science fiction that Bobby created for his thesis. He is a fine writer with a vivid imagination, and I'm looking forward to reading his novel. Congratulations, please confer the medallion. I'd like to ask Shaylin Huber with her advisor to step forward. Shaylin is an ecology and environmental sciences major whose thesis is entitled A Study of the Prevalence of Climate Anxiety in College Students and its Effects on Activism and Climate-Corrected Behaviors. Her advisor is Cynthia Eisenhower. Professor Eisenhower writes this, Shaylin's research is on a crucially important topic, the links between climate anxiety and climate action among undergraduate students. Her survey findings indicate that many undergraduate students experience significant climate anxiety and that very few of the actions they report engaging in seem to help. Without stronger and more effective collective action at the national and international scales, climate anxiety is likely to take a significant toll on the mental health of our youth as the impacts of climate change become increasingly apparent. Okay, place the medallion. I'd like to ask Virginia Hugo Vidal to step forward. Virginia is a political science and international affairs double major. Her thesis is entitled Genocide in Bosnia to Ethnic Cleansing in Kosovo, International Responses Influence on Serb Military Action, and she was advised by Mark Brewer. Professor Brewer notes Virginia has a high degree of intellectual curiosity. She is seemingly interested in everything, which could be both a curse and a blessing. When she focuses, she produces extraordinary work. Please confer the medallion. Jessica Hutchinson, please step forward. Jessica's thesis is entitled Utilizing Landscape Design Principles to Improve Green Spaces and Promote Ecotherapy on Campus. Her advisor is Stephanie Burnett, who writes, Jessica has been a joy to work with on her project. Her work has been thoughtful, meticulous, and made a difference for many in the University of Maine community. Could you please confer the medallion? Sydney Jackson, please step forward. You may have seen a drift in our presentation with nevertheless she persisted, which I think could be kind of a theme for this whole, for Sydney, that is, which could be a theme for this whole graduating class. Sydney is a marine science major whose thesis is entitled Comparing it to non-invasive, I'm going to start all over. Comparing it to non-invasive methods for assessing marine mammal genetic diversity, environmental DNA versus fecal DNA. Her advisor is Christina Kamen. Her medallion is given by James Brophy. Her advisor, Christina Kamen, writes, always a pleasure to work with. Sydney has made valuable contributions to the Maine eDNA program and the CADM lab throughout her thesis research. I'm amazed at how much she has taken on and learned, and I wish her the best of luck with her next adventures. Professor Brophy, please confer the medallion. Congratulations. Jordan Judkins, please step forward. Jordan is a biomedical engineering major whose thesis is entitled Investigating 3D Printability of a Main-Based Bioink. Her advisor is Bashir Koda, who couldn't join us today, but who writes this. I tried hard to lure her into the graduate program, but I've not been successful yet. She is bright and positively energetic. She will do great. Congratulations, Jordan. Please confer the medallion. Next graduate is Andrew Knapp. He's an ecology and environmental sciences major whose thesis is entitled COVID-19 and Outdoor Recreation in Maine and New Hampshire, Analysis of Trends Using Passive Visitation Data. Her advisor is Professor Jessica Leahy, who writes, Andrea has completed a cutting-edge analysis of cellular phone data, a form of big data, in order to explore the influence of the pandemic on tourism in Maine. She will stand out for her experience in passive visitor use analysis, which very few others have right now. However, her work ethic, ability to be organized, and dedication to outdoor recreation resources is what really sets her apart. Please confer the medallion. Big group, last names beginning with L, please step forward. I'm trying to move this as efficiently as I can and giving every student their due. I know you're hungry. I would like to add Meg Lander. That's a rowdy bunch. Meg Lander. Meg here? Okay. This thesis is entitled Efficacy of the FIFA 11+ Injury Prevention Program in Maine High School Soccer. Her advisor is Christopher Nightingale, who writes, I provided Meg support in the development and implementation of her research plan and data analysis for her study. She was fabulous to work with and took to the research process like a duck to water. Please confer the medallion. Our next graduate is Sierra Lawrence. Sciences and Mathematics, whose thesis is entitled Prenoa pacifica Reproduction in Shallow versus Deep Habitats of Glacier Bay National Park and Preserve, Alaska. Her co-advisors are Brianne Waller and David Hebler. Her medallion will be given by Chris Nares. Her advisor, Professor Waller, writes, Ciara has been a wonderful student, and I really enjoyed our time working on this project together. It has been so wonderful to see her growth and confidence bloom, and I'm excited to see where she goes next. Please place the medallion. Aylin Liebler Bendix is our next graduate. Aylin is a psychology major whose thesis is entitled Confrontation as a Coping Strategy to Help Protect Women's Mental and Physical Health. Her advisor is Shannon McCoy, who can't be with us today. Her committee member, Shelby Helwig, had this to say. Aylin has been an excellent research assistant in Dr. Shannon McCoy's lab for over 3 years. During this time, she has been involved in several projects investigating women's resiliency to sexism and presented this work at local and national conferences. For her honors thesis, she conducted a rigorous in-person experiment that investigated whether a coping strategy known as confrontation protects women's mental and physical health after being exposed to sexism. Professor LeBoeuf, please confer the medallion. please step forward. Construction engineering technology. Her thesis is entitled Life Cycle Analysis and Implications of 3D Printed Bio-Based Homes, a Preliminary Study. Her advisor is Meredith Kirkman, who writes, "It has been so lovely collaborating with Claire on her honors project. Spending an hour each week talking about her research, discussing our shared interests, and talking with her about classes, careers, and so much else has been joyful and rewarding." Please confer the medallion. Lynn, please step forward. Engineering, physics, and mathematics major, whose thesis is entitled Near Field Thermal Radiation in Graphene-Based Systems. His advisor is Professor Sheila Adalapour, who writes, "Graphene is the thinnest, but the strongest and most electrically conductive material. It has also been identified as one of the materials that can render highest radiative heat transfer. Hua did an extensive study to identify the most suitable substrate that can host this atomically thin wonder material without diminishing its heat transfer properties." Congratulations to Hua Lin. Abigail Lovick. Secondary education major, whose thesis is entitled Already Too Late. Her advisor is Professor Chris Mayers, who writes, "Abby and I put in a lot of time together on her creative thesis, and I was very impressed with how she took on the daunting task of mapping out a novel and writing the initial chapters. She should be proud of what she did." Please place the medallion and congratulations. Please step forward. Whose thesis is entitled Large Wood Restoration in the Narraguagus River. Her advisor is Hamish Grigg, who can't be here today, but her thesis will be conferred by Val Watson, who has this to say: "Kira's curiosity, flexibility, and enthusiasm for field and lab work have made her thesis into an interesting and useful project that our stakeholder partners will be very interested to see. I've been so impressed with how she's made this project her own, even as she worked through an off-campus semester by the sea and prepared for post-graduation life in aquaculture. She should be proud of her work." Please confer the medallion. Congratulations. Students with last names M through P, please line up. Victoria Mayers. Our first graduate is Victoria Mayers. Victoria's thesis is entitled The Role of Cell Sorting and Gene PAZ5 in Dictyostelium discoidum. What did I do? Okay, oh, she just said okay. All right. I like honesty. Her advisor is Robert Gunderson, who has this to say: "Way to persevere, Victoria. You had a typical experience. Everything didn't work as we had hoped, but you worked through it to your very best." Congratulations to Victoria. Please confirm the medallion. Amy McConville, please step forward. Amy here. Sarah Meyer Waldo, please step forward. Sarah is a mechanical engineering major whose thesis is entitled, maybe surprised to hear, My Life of Dance, Teshuva. Her advisor is Samantha C. Jones, her medallion will be given by Jenny Woodard. Sam Jones writes this: "It has been such an honor to work with Sarah on her journey with her creative thesis. Her project encompasses the honors endeavor on so many levels. As an engineering major, her choice to weave choreography, poetry, and spirituality into a deeply introspective and yet performative practice has resulted in a unique work that brings together an otherwise fragmented experience of self and is more relevant and necessary than ever in this current cultural moment. Congratulations, Sarah. Please take some breath. Abigail Muscat. Sciences major, whose advisor, Brian Olson, is doing his civic duty today. He's got called for jury duty. Her thesis is entitled Identifying Umbrella Species to Inform the Conservation of Intertidal Areas in Acadia National Park. Brian Olson, her advisor, writes this. Abigail's thesis involves standing on icy shorelines in February, learning a new coding language to dive into the equally icy depths of statistics, getting almost stranded on an offshore island overnight, and supervising a crew of community volunteers. But she came out on the other side with meaningful recommendations to Acadia National Park that will help their biologists better conserve their intertidal ecosystems. And she impressed everyone she interacted with her competency, professionalism, and scientific abilities. Congratulations, Abigail. Please place them down. Noelle Ott, please step forward. Psychology major, whose thesis is entitled The Relationship Between Tabletop Role-Playing Games, Depression, and Social Anxiety. Her advisor, Jordan LaBeouf, writes this. Noelle has been such a joy to work with on our mutual hobby of Dungeons and Dragons. She is a great example of how great students can take their creativity and their personal interests and use their research skills to understand them better. Her work on her thesis has been a critical hit. Please place the medallion. Congratulations, Noelle. Maya Overturf is our next graduate. Maya is an elementary education major whose thesis is entitled Identity in the Classroom, How Opening the Classroom Door Opened My Eyes to Keeping Humanity in Education. Her advisor is Dominique Varney. Her medallion will be given by Mimi Killinger. Professor Varney writes, I am so proud of Maya. Her optimism, energy, positivity, and drive profoundly impact those around her as she strives to create an environment where everyone feels safe, heard, and supported. A true leader, a passionate student, a dedicated teacher, and an outstanding advocate for inclusive education. Maya Overturf. Please place some down. Sabrina Cato, please step forward. Has 3 majors, correct? Yes, okay. Just sometimes they're such overachievers, I can't believe what I'm reading to you. Sociology and anthropology and psychology. Her thesis is entitled The Defense of American Exceptionalism, President Trump's COVID-19 Rhetoric. Her advisors are Amy Freed and Amber Tierney. Her medallion will be conferred by Rob Glover. Professor Freed writes, it was such a pleasure to work with Sabrina as she pursued her honors thesis and produced such excellent work. In these difficult COVID-affected times, Sabrina was thoughtful, persistent, creative, and curious. Congratulations, Sabrina. Please place them down. Pierce. Olivia is a psychology major whose thesis title is I Talk, Self-Focus and Depression in Adolescence. Her advisor is Rebecca Schwartzman. Who writes, how fortunate we are that Olivia transitioned to a career in psychology from engineering. Sorry. Her talents, her creativity, and her insatiable drive to develop and test novel questions in her research is truly inspiring. Please place the medallion. Congratulations. Remaining students, please step forward with your advisors. Alexander Ryan. Our next graduate is Alexander Ryan. Biology. Her thesis title is Communicating Climate Change Through Dance. Her advisors are Sarah Lindsay and Erin Vinson. Co-advisor Sarah Lindsay writes, I have thoroughly enjoyed being a part of Allie's exploration of communicating climate change through dance. Communicating complex science topics in ways to engage a broader audience is really challenging, and Allie embraced that challenge in a wonderful way. And Erin Vinson writes that working with Allie has been one of the brightest things about this year. Allie, I know that students wherever you end up will undoubtedly be lucky and grateful to have you as their teacher. Please place the medallion. Congratulations. Gabrielle Sands, please step forward. Gabby is a marketing major and psychology major. She actually has 2 degrees. A few of our students have multiple degrees. I didn't catch them all. And her thesis is entitled, her thesis is entitled, Does Interpersonal Emotion Regulation Impact Mood? A Validation of the Interpersonal Regulation Questionnaire. And her advisor is Emily Haig. Professor Haig writes, it has been an absolute pleasure mentoring Gabby throughout the honors thesis process. Owing to her determination and intelligence, Gabby rose to the challenge and produced an original, high quality, and meaningful thesis. Please place the medallion. Ellen Searing, please step forward. Llewellyn is a major in international affairs and mathematics. Her thesis is entitled From Points to Potlucks, an exploration of fixed point theorems with applications to game theory models of successful integration practices. Her advisor is Peter Steklinski, who can't be with us today, who writes this. Oh, you are here. Are you sure? I'm so sorry. Here's her wonderful advisor, right there, who writes this. Llewellyn has used her wide range of knowledge to connect mathematics with international affairs in an impressive way. She has an obvious passion for this work and has persevered through a number of obstacles that were thrown her way. It has been a pleasure working with Llewellyn on her thesis, and I look forward to seeing what's in her future. Please place the medallion. Kate Stanislavski, please step forward. Kate is a zoology major whose thesis is entitled Optical Illusions to Schizophrenic Delusions, How Your Brain Can Alter Reality. Her advisor is Leonard Cox, who can't be with us today. He writes this, Kate is a brilliant student in all things related to medical physiology and neurobiology. She worked with an extraordinary level of independence and great self-drive. She is therefore bound to be successful at the highest levels within her chosen professional career. Professor Levant, please confer the medallion and congratulations. Please step forward. A Spanish major whose thesis is entitled Making Foreign Language Education Accessible Through Spanish Animation. Her advisor is Chris Mayers, who writes this. Stephanie was an absolute pleasure to work with. She is smart and capable and engaged in what she does. She worked very hard. It wasn't always an easy road, but she kept going, and I believe it was a journey well worth taking. Please confer the medallion. Catherine Treblecock, please step forward. Catherine is a wildlife ecology major whose thesis is entitled Riders on a Storm, Woodcock Behavior Following Extreme Weather Events. And if anyone else is singing the Doors in their head right now, I'll join you later. Her advisor is Eric Blomberg, who writes this, working with Kate has been an absolute pleasure. Her thesis provides us with new information on how migrating birds respond to extreme weather, with great relevance to a species of long-standing conservation concern. She has demonstrated a consistent combination of talent, creativity, and work ethic that paint the picture of a well-rounded scholar. Congratulations, Catherine. Please confer the medallion. Vickers, please step forward. Mayella is a sociology major whose thesis is entitled The Impact of Social Media on College Students' Perceptions of Crime. Her advisor is Brian Pittman. Writes this: Mayella has everything to be proud of with her research and success these last 4 years. Mayella, I have enjoyed working with you, and I can't wait to see where life takes you. Please confer the medallion. Kathleen Weaver, please step forward. Kathleen is a double major in mathematics and English, whose thesis is entitled We Are Infinite. Her advisor, Jennifer Moxley, writes this: I have learned so much from Jackie by working with Jackie on her honors thesis. Her unique perspective, intelligence, and serious heart have inspired me. She has so much to teach the next generation because she hasn't forgotten what it's like to be a brilliant teenager who doesn't fit into established categories. Jackie's poems tell a unique story, the story of a woman in STEM determined to succeed without losing sight of the struggle. Jackie is infinite. Please confer the medallion. Julia Winston, please step forward. She is a philosophy major whose thesis is entitled Writing an Existential Novel, an Environmental and Philosophical Exploration. Her advisor is Michael Swaha. Her medallion will be given by Melissa Leidenheim. Professor Swaha writes, Julia's thesis, a novel grounded in philosophical reflection about the human relationship with nature, raises such compelling and timely questions and topics that her thesis committee as a whole couldn't contain its enthusiasm. Working with Julia on this project has been an exciting and engaging experience. Congratulations, Julia. Please confer the medallion. Basil White, please step forward. Basil is a biomedical engineering student whose thesis is entitled Wavelet-Based Automatic Breast Segmentation for Mammograms. His advisor is Audrey Khalil, who writes, Basil showed great resilience throughout this project, especially considering the difficulty of navigating the biomedical engineering and the honors curricula while working on a particularly complex thesis topic and doing a math minor, and all of this while still getting highest honors. Credit is also due to Melissa Leidenheim, who was a great coach for Basil. Please confer the medallion. Elizabeth. A physics major whose thesis is entitled Design, Construction, and Investigation of a Small Perimeter. Her advisor is David Batuski. Her medallion will be presented by Chris Mayers. Professor Batuski writes, Kelby was diligent and resourceful in designing and building a new instrument for the university's astronomical research telescope, a polarimeter that can measure how much the light waves from stars and other celestial objects are biased in orientation. This polarization can result from the structure of magnetic fields in the objects, informing us about physical processes within them. Kelby's instrument opens an exciting new realm of observational investigation for future student research projects at UMaine. Please confer the medallion. Let's please give a round of applause to all of our extraordinary Humboldt. and extraordinarily impressed and moved by the kind of work that our students are doing every day to understand the complex world we live in, the challenges we face, to develop incredible ways of solving those problems. So students, you are truly amazing to all of us, I think, and we are so impressed. Of course, behind every successful student are the mentors who teach and collaborate and encourage and sometimes even goad you. Faculty advisors and committee members, please stand so that we can recognize your service. Students and guests, let's applaud the faculty members. The Honors College could truly not do our work without you. I'm grateful, truly grateful. Now is the time when we pause to recognize some individual achievements and those who have served the Honors College in particularly extraordinary ways. We will begin by recognizing Dominique DeSpirito. Dominique, please step forward. Dominique has been named both the University of Maine valedictorian and the Outstanding Honors Graduate for 2022. A political science major, Dominique defended her honors thesis just 2 days ago, earning highest honors. She has a quiver overflowing with achievements and awards. She was named a Truman Scholar in 2021, one of just 62 across the nation. She was named a 2020 Maine Policy Scholar and won the 2021 Outstanding Student Contribution to Sustainability Solutions from the Mitchell Center, a 2021 Heart and Soul Award from the Maine Campus Compact, and the 2021 Servant Heart Scholarship from the Bodwell Center for Service and Volunteerism. She is the 2021 president of All Maine Women, served for 2 years as the president of the Honors College Student Advisory Board, and engaged in countless other ways on campus and in her many communities. And she has done so as a first-generation college student who seeks always to make visible the needs of a student community that is often overlooked and undervalued. It is no wonder that she was nominated not only for the University Valedictorian, but also by several faculty members for the Outstanding Honors Graduate for 2022. Congratulations, Dominique. I would now like to ask Max Burtis to come forward. Recognizing Max for his achievement as the University of Maine Salutatorian for 2022. Max is a mechanical engineering major whose thesis research investigated use of light drones for Arctic research, in particular, measurement of glacial melt. He will be graduating with highest honors. His accomplishments are intimidatingly plentiful and include presenting research at the 2021 Glaciological Society Global Seminar Series and earning numerous awards from the Foster Center for Innovation for Ferta Farms, a startup oyster farm for which he is both co-founder and chief technology officer. He is the president of Pi Tau Sigma Mechanical Engineering Honor Society and a member of the Tau Pi Data Engineering Honor Society and the Senior Skull Society, among others. He hails from a family of fishers and has worked as a commercial fisher for 7 years. He is an advocate for sustainable state-level fisheries policy and responsible local shellfish ordinances. Upon graduation, he will be studying data science at Northeastern University's Root Institute. Please join me in congratulating Max for his remarkable achievements. Throughout the months of April and May, we eagerly await information regarding which of our students have been named outstanding students in their colleges. This year, 2 of those students are honors graduates, and I will now ask them to stand and be recognized. One of them can't be here today, that's Ethan Machiff, but Hua Lin was named the outstanding graduate in the College of Engineering. Hua Lin, please stand. For his accomplishment. We also have a large number of students who've been named outstanding students in their departments or schools. We're not going to name them individually, that's how many there are. But if you are such a student, we would ask you to please stand so we can recognize you. Outstanding, outstanding I would now like to invite Melissa Ladenheim to come to the podium for the presentation of the 2022 Honors College Service Award, which recognizes a student for outstanding commitment and contributions to the University of Maine honors community.
Thank you. I'm going to try to get through this without getting choked up and crying. I've been unsuccessful so far in all the times I've practiced, so I apologize. The winner of the 2022 Honors College Service Award joined the Honors College Student Advisory Board soon after arriving on campus with a willingness and a cheerfulness to help in all ways. That commitment led them to serving as president of the Student Advisory Board for 2 years, where among many other things, they represented the Honors College at the National Collegiate Honors Council Conference. Sorry, I'm getting already choked up. They were a member of the inaugural group of Honors College ambassadors and helped support and then manage the college's It's Personal campaign, which has collected over 10,000 personal care products for distribution to our community through the Black Bear Exchange, our campus food pantry, in response to the pandemic. As a first-year student, they became the food bank liaison for one of our signature events, the Maine Day Meal Pack-Out, where they helped coordinate the distribution of 75,000 meals across the state of Maine. In their roles with the Maine Day Meal Pack-Out, they have successfully written grants and given presentations to area service clubs, garnering over $10,000 in donations to support the meal pack-out. This year, they took on the leadership role as student coordinator for the meal pack-out, our first in 2 years. They raised over $15,000 in collaboration with their team and coordinated the packing last Wednesday on Maine Day of 50,000 meals for the food insecure in Maine that were distributed to food pantries throughout the state. As you can see, this year's recipient is indeed outstanding in their commitment and contributions to our honors community. Please join me in honoring Dominic Desperado with the 2022 honors.
No plaque, but we have something else, and Melissa will explain what this is.
We have a drawing that was done by Arlene Thompson, whose husband Robert Thompson, from the Thompson Honor Center was named, and a very important figure in the history of the Honors College. And so this is a picture of Colvin, the heart and soul structurally of the Honors College.
And where I have my hands defense.
Congratulations.
Humbles. All the humbles. Very quickly, before we adjourn for brunch, we have a few more people that we would like to briefly acknowledge. I don't know this is coming. First, I would like to recognize Katie Toots. You can stay. Thank you. Katie is a 2021 honors graduate who's been serving as an honors associate for this past year. She arrives before any of the rest of us, and often stays late. She demonstrates an extraordinary can-do attitude and a degree of professionalism that is beyond her years. I'm particularly grateful to Katie for helping me navigate many aspects of campus as I climbed a very steep learning curve in my early days at UMaine. Katie is moving on to new things in the coming year, and we will miss her sorely. Katie, as is our tradition, there is a new brick installed on Charlie's Terrace, recognizing you for your service as an honors associate. Thank you, Katie. Finally, I would like to recognize Chris Mears. Chris, you need to step forward. Where are you? No. I'm going to deny it all. We have two faculty members who are retiring this year, Chris Mears and Mark Haggerty. Chris, I think, got exhausted from all of his medallion presentations and so had to go get a rest. But we did want to spend a little bit of time acknowledging both him and Professor Haggerty, who could not be with us today for their many, many years of service in the Honors College, but we'll do that another time. All right. So, as we conclude, I want to remind you that this is all preamble. We look forward to seeing you graduate at tomorrow's commencement ceremonies. Commencement is such an interesting word because it marks the fact that even as you're closing one chapter of your life, you're beginning a new one. As you leave the University of Maine and commence your next chapter, we hope you will remember us, visit us, keep us posted on your news and endeavors. We don't stop being proud of you once you graduate. Indeed, we will look forward with great eagerness for news of you and the many things we know you will accomplish in the next chapters of your life. Thank you to families, to guests, to faculty members, to supporters, and to our graduates. Congratulations once again. We are so proud of you. Medallions at your commencement ceremony. They're very impressive. And our lovely folks from UMaine Catering are going to guide us table by table for to join for brunch. So those who have to go, but we hope you will stay. Again, there's coffee, there's water, there's lemonade, there's food. Thank you all very much.